Well, where does the day go? It is already 6:20 p.m. here Thursday evening in Australia, and I meant to do this video much earlier today, but just the day got away from me. Partly because it's the end of the financial year here in Australia, so we end up the financial year 30th of June, so a lot of things to do kind of just before that and just after that, and that's kind of taken a lot of my time. Anyway, I want to talk about the Forex charts today, but just quickly to say, how about that little bounce on the E-mini? We've got this seasonal pattern, 4th of July, to kind of roll through. So that's why we're getting a little bit of the strength. But bear in mind, we still got pullback to end of trend to make on the 45-minute chart. So just think about that. If you've got the better indicators, pull up that 45-minute chart and just look out for that kind of resistance to come in. Anyway, let's talk Forex because we have got a little bit of a lurch coming in Forex. A lurch down in the euro, the pound, the Aussie, and so on, and gold and silver, and a lurch up in the dollar index. And I just want to talk through that. The lurch is coming for two reasons. First of all, we've got cyclical resistance coming in on the weekly charts, and I've been talking about this kind of lining up, everything kind of coming together for a couple of weeks now, a fair few weeks, saying, you know, we'd still get strength in all of these kind of risk-on type currencies until that weekly pattern kind of came in. So that's the first reason. This cyclical cross on these weekly charts using better sine wave, that'll come in at some point. The other reason is that we've got straight lines happening in better momentum. I always say better momentum is all about measuring psychology of people. It's emotions. You know, volume is all driven by emotions, and the market does not like straight lines. Emotions do not travel in straight lines, and so when we have straight lines, we're going to get a lurch. We're going to get the straight line kind of broken. I'm just wondering which of these charts shows that straight line most clearly. Probably this one, Aussie dollar. Have a look at this. So this is the straight line happening here in the Aussie. So better momentum here on the weekly chart. You can line up from the exhaustion pattern, bullish divergence, a little bit of a straight line, and we're going to have a pulse down when the cyclical resistance on the weekly chart and that kind of sell-off happens. That's kind of a pulse down. Those two things coming together will be a lurch down. So it's driven by cyclical resistance on the weekly chart and a straight line in better momentum. I'm just going to roll through these charts, see if there's any kind of better examples. No, I think it kind of comes down to the euro, maybe the pound, and so on. So let's just roll through these charts kind of quickly. Euro chart, everybody's interested in the euro. So what happened at the beginning of the week with the news out of Greece? We had a gap down basically here on Monday, and then we kind of traded all the way back up, and so all the amateurs were like, what is going on? And all kinds of theories coming out. Well, if Greece exits the euro, it's driven by the Germans, it'll be the weakness out of the way, and everybody's kind of strong after that, and who cares? What's going to happen here is the support on the daily chart is going to get broken into a downtrend, and cyclical resistance is going to come in here, and we're going to roll down. This exhaustion buying on the daily chart was short covering. everybody was kind of panicking short kind of here. They would be saying we're going to go to parity, we're going to go through parity, blah blah blah, and then all of a sudden we kind of roll 15 cents to the upside, and short covering rally kind of going on here. But this little pattern kind of plays out. Exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, another kind of bearish divergence pattern, not a flush, but kind of looking like that kind of a reading, and this activity probably broken the upside. That's as far as we're going to go traveling here, and so the next move down will be a trending move, breakthrough support here at like 109.5 on the euro, kind of down. Cyclical resistance will kind of come in here, and we'll get a nice little, I don't know, flush type pattern here, but again kind of lining up a little bit of a straight line here in better momentum. No, we've got to have another shock down. We've got to have another kind of big emotional kind of roll to the downside, a little lurch to the downside. So let's see, is it going to happen today? We've got this kind of strength in potential strength in equities in the US. We've got this kind of seasonal pattern. Some money could be running into the US, into the equities market, and out of the euro, bit of panic with this kind of going on. So look for that 109.5 level on the euro to be broken. If we get a nice kind of sell-off kind of through there, that'll be kind of the signal that this is in, and we're kind of going to roll down, pull back to end of trend on this one, and it lurch down in the euro. So of all of the currencies, the pound has been the strongest. I hope you've been kind of listening to some of the videos I've done over the pound, because I think I caught this bottom quite nicely in the pound over the last several months. and we've had a nice kind of roll up. Now this one, cyclical resistance come in a little bit early at this point here. Really I think it should be printing here, but you know, these things aren't exact sciences. But on the upside here again, short covering rally, exhaustion patterns, bearish divergence. With this particular break, we had a break even higher to 158. It's kind of getting close-ish to this 160 kind of breakdown level here. Anyway, we're rolling back down after that exhaustion, that kind of blue professional up bar. We're coming through the lows of that. So what were the professionals doing here? They were probably getting short. So at some point we'll have a cyclical support kind of come in here, but we've got two kind of cyclical patterns going on. We've got resistance and resistance, so the energy is to the downside. It's the strongest of the lot, you know, the pound, but it'll get kind of taken down if the euro kind of starts to sell down and the dollar kind of strengthens. Still probably be, you know, the strongest of the lot, but you know, it can't kind of move on its own. It'll be kind of moving with all of those other currencies. So that's kind of possibly played its way out on the way down here now. Aussie dollar. What was I saying? Same thing with kind of this straight line. A bit shallower in terms of the pattern here. Let's see if I can turn this briefly off, and you can see, yeah, it's kind of a straight line kind of happening here. Market doesn't like that. Emotions don't play like that. We're going to see some kind of, you know, kind of bigger emotional sell-off kind of there. Aussie dollar, there's a nice little straight line. That doesn't do it in terms of, you know, kind of a little bit of a correction on the way down. Interesting thing about the Aussie dollar is we are sitting on an absolute ledge here. You can see we're just about to kind of cross in terms of the weekly cross, which will be pulled back in a downtrend. We're also back down at the bottom here. Same kind of pattern, short covering rally, blue professional bars, bearish divergence kind of come in. This one in terms of that, you know, kind of head and shoulders type pattern, weakest shoulder of the lot. I think the Canadian's even weaker than this, but anyway, so the Aussie dollar, they're just sitting on this 75 kind of for another lurch down. I was talking about I took profits on short Aussie a couple of months ago. I was quite happy, but I just took off a third of my position at that point, and now could be looking for the next kind of lurch down where I can start to ease out of some more of that. But anyway, we're sitting on support here at the Aussie dollar. Could get a little bit interesting. You know, 75 is a psychologically incredibly important level here. Yen, you know, we've had this exhaustion pattern here. Remember this bullish divergence pattern on the daily charts right on the zero line. So again, market doesn't like that. We're going to have some kind of flush pattern kind of going on here. Here the move has been so strong on the downtrend. We had a little wrap around here where a better sine wave might have made a pullback in a downtrend, but no, the market was so weak we just kept on going through. So for this to make a pullback to end of trend, we've got to go all the way back up with this loop on better sine wave here before that kind of comes on. But the market's, you know, the yen is too weak at the moment. So we've had this kind of last lurch down through 82s, and pullbacks kind of come in. We've come back up to the breakdown level. So blue professional bar through support is falling through the ice into another little trending move on the way down. We come back, we bounce off, support becomes resistance. We've got a blue professional up bar and we break the lows of that one. So the professionals were selling it down here. When we came back up, they were selling it down here. So I'd expect this to go pull back, dirty end of trend, and kind of, you know, have a look through you know, the 80s and into the 70s again. Looney's the Canadian dollar. It's kind of the weakest of the lot. Well, with the yen, the pullback level's already come in here. You can see here this last kind of move, bang bang, selling it down. I mean, people are worried about the Canadian economy, particularly because, you know, maybe the real estate market has run out of puff temporarily there. There's less kind of good news coming out of Canada than there is the US and so on. So again, same kind of thing, bit of a short covering rally, blue professional bars, exhaustion, bearish divergence kind of comes in. We hold at this point here, weak kind of push back up, just bounce straight off resistance. We got a double happening here, resistance and resistance. So the cyclical energy is playing in at this point, and we've just rocketed through those blue professional bars. So they were selling it down at 80 cents here, and we'll see where this kind of travels, pull back to end of trend. And then so, because all of those things are going down, you know, the dollar index is coming up. So we've got cyclical cross at some point, which will be pulled back in an uptrend. Go on here on the weekly chart here. This little sell-off again, you know, has cleared out a lot of people here. Support got broken. We came back again, briefly broke it, came back up above support here. So, you know, we got potentially a double kind of coming along here at this point. So, yeah, I'm just looking at the next several weeks. This is the pattern. It's like, you know, we've still got a little bit of jiggery pokery to kind of just get out of these things so that they're all starting to move together. But as soon as they start to move together, you'll see a strong move, and the dollar index and all these things will start kind of coming down. Whether it's this weekend's Greek vote and whatever drives the euro, that's kind of the catalyst. I mean, that's kind of the most obvious thing kind of going on as a catalyst to drive this next lurch. But look for that 109.5 as a break on the euro chart. Be interesting there. So the dollar index starting to break back up, having had a very nice little correction move down here, but we're coming into that support level kind of at 94 and kind of playing off that. And because gold and silver to some extent are kind of anti-US dollar, that's not the only kind of thing, but the gold and the silver charts again are looking weak, and we could have another lurch down in gold and silver through pretty important kind of supports that have held out here. This last move in gold on the daily chart, you can see a little bit of a short covering rally type exhaustion volume here, blue professional up bars, and they sold it down here. We came back into that kind of zone. So as soon as we come back into the zone blue professional bar, if that starts to fail, which it did, and we failed through here, we come back into again that zone is still important. This blue professional bar, this zone between the highs and lows of these professional bars is really important. It kind of goes all the way back to here and here and here. So we've had this real channel kind of develop, and the last move up through that channel immediately just got sold off. Bang! We're well through the lows of that, and we're kind of looking at what is that 1160, 1150 kind of support levels, resistance and resistance on both of these charts. So the cyclical energy on the lowest and the highest time frames are both kind of in sync, which means it's weak. I mean, if we'd broken resistance on those two time frames and we were heading up through the highs of this bar, game on. It's like we'd have a rally in gold, a strong rally in gold, but we've not done that. Wait for these breaks. Do the support and resistance level get broken, or do they start to play together when you got two time frames, a high and a low kind of coming together, and you got a similar pattern? That's when the strong moves come out. But all we've got here is two resistance to support kind of down moves to kind of play out on the daily and weekly. So this is looking weak, and psychologically, down here we're getting very close to these lows here. So breaking through that would kind of give us another kind of exhaustion type move in volume and emotion. And lastly, silver. Silver broke through support here, blue professional bar through support. That's falling through the ice, and I know we're back at the 15s kind of here, but it's not holding, and we're breaking into a downtrend move on silver. A little bit of an amateur down bar here, but the last thing that we had in the picture was exhaustion buy, bearish divergence, so we're rolling through here. Resistance to support to kind of play out. And on these charts, we've not had, I've said this for a while on the silver chart. It's kind of interesting that on the weekly chart, we had an exhaustion sell here. This was maybe short covering rally type stuff, but we continue to lurch down, and we've got to see another exhaustion sell pattern on the downside on silver, I'd say, because all we're seeing at the upside is these kind of patterns going on. So to really bottom gold and silver, we've got to see those exhaustion sell signals. So there we go, a little bit of a roll through the Forex charts, and I'm looking for a lurch down in these Forex charts to get that kind of emotion kind of in here. And we've got all the right things kind of going on. We've got a little bit of a break with July 4th weekend. We've got the Greek vote happening. I think it's on the Sunday. Got all kinds of things in play that could bring in some serious emotional type volume kind of coming in. There we go. That's what I'm looking at on my charts, and I hope your trading is going extremely well.